Be the change you want to see. Make a difference by giving your money a purpose, a mission to do good. Welcome to Money with Mission, where we talk to individuals, businesses, and organizations who are taking the lead and whose actions are impacting the well-being of their communities and the world at large.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Money with Mission. Today I have Mark Leonard Pratt from 205 Kids Invest. Don't worry, you're going to learn what that is. 205 Kids Invest specializes in investing in the children of Detroit, Michigan. They are teaching them to invest in their own communities by making them shareholders of the everyday businesses around them. They believe that children deserve a fair economic opportunity to succeed, and at 205 Kids LLC, that's exactly what they're giving them. The goal is to make every child in the 48205 zip code, which is Detroit, equal shareholders of the businesses in that community, thus financially securing their futures while enriching and revitalizing the neighborhoods where they reside with their families. Welcome, Mark. Thank you so much.
Oh.
I met Mark on Clubhouse, and when I heard about what he was doing, I've been trying to get him on the show for about 3 months, and finally we wrangled him down and got him on here. Thanks so much for hanging in there.
Oh, thank you for having me. Like you said, it finally happened, and I'm just so thankful, just for your interest finding out what we're doing up here. I mean, I'm just honored, and Clubhouse, I always said was a godsend, because I have met some phenomenal people through Clubhouse, including yourself. And it was a godsend, like I said.
Mark, like I said, I met you for the first time on Clubhouse, and then I went and looked at you on all the social medias I could find anything about you, and I found some interesting stuff. One was a picture of you, what looked like in a jail cell with the orange jumpsuit on, and you were writing some poetry. You were in prison? Tell us about.
Yes, I was in prison. And what you saw, that was actually a spoken word video.
Okay.
I had, a spoken word piece. Yeah, it was called A Dream Realized. And it's basically my life in like 9 minutes and 53 seconds, So that's what you saw. And unfortunately, I can't say unfortunately, because me going to prison, it got me to where I'm at right now, and I know everything happens for a reason. And me going to prison was part of God's plan for me, just so I could be, here right now and doing what I'm doing, While in prison, I was able to reflect and, just understand how I ended up in prison. I understood, and that path, I guess, has led me to giving these kids everything that I didn't have while I was growing up in our communities, because the main thing that I learned was the absence of a father or a positive male figure that played a tremendous part in my life and plays a tremendous part in a lot of our children's lives, especially our young boys, our boys that grew up in the inner city. I found out that because of the absence of a father or a positive male figure, I followed the next male figure that was around that I saw, and that male figure was the drug dealers, the street guys and things like that. And as a little boy, all little boys want to be like whatever male figure is in their life. They want to emulate them, and that's what happened to me, and that's what happened to all of our boys. It's happening right now, and that's that is our mission, really, to basically stop our boys from going to prison, start raising men, and we have to provide our children with like I said, a fair economic opportunity to succeed, to be able to attain all the goals or, to cultivate whatever greatness is in our kids. We have to give them an opportunity. And I didn't have that financial opportunity. I grew up in the inner city. I had 3 siblings. My mom was a young mom, and she wasn't financially literate or financially responsible,
So thank you for sharing that. Tell me, while in prison, you said you were there for 6 years. You gave me a specific exact 6 years, 11 months.
6 years, 11 months and 28 days.
Okay. To reflect. And what are you from Detroit, first of all?
Yes, I'm from
That
Detroit,
from?
Michigan. Yes, born and
Okay.
raised on the east side. Yeah.
So what happened in prison? You reflected, but sometimes you didn't have that information before you got there. How did you get the
No,
information and the idea to start this company?
well, I just started this company a year ago, but while in prison, I read Think and Grow Rich,
Okay.
Napoleon Hill.
Okay.
I always say it was God who arrested me and Napoleon Hill who corrected me. Corrected me with my mindset and to just believe in myself and had the confidence to know that I can do whatever it is I want, you want
Yeah.
in life. And yeah, and I never heard that before. I never heard anybody tell me you can do whatever it is you want to do in life. It's all, in your mind. It's all up to you. I never heard that before growing up. And that's another thing, we have to instill in our children, that successful mindset, that belief, that confidence to believe that you can do whatever it is you want to do. So while in prison, yeah, I read Think and Grow Rich, and it changed my life. It changed my life. And the first step, to having a successful mind state is about finding your definite purpose in life.
Right.
And, once I discovered, because we took the full course. It was a pastor from Knoxville, Tennessee, Jerry Upton. He was actually Reggie White's pastor, the football player, Reggie White. Yeah, he was his pastor. And he was in prison, for something or whatever. But he was the guy he was like, I say he was one of God's vessels because he was a pastor and everything. And he started this class called New Beginnings, where it taught the Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich, the whole mindset thing. And once I just, I discovered that and my definite purpose, I started looking. I didn't know what my definite purpose was. I knew I was, I wanted to be successful. I was used to, material things don't matter to me, but I was used to, just being able to do for myself. So I didn't know what I was going to do when I got out of prison. Right. So one day after taking the class and everything, and I'm searching for my definite purpose, I'm sitting on the yard with a couple guys, one of my best friends in prison and another guy. And they were having a conversation about something. And that conversation sparked the idea. I was like, that would be a great book. That would be an amazing book. So I started writing, And right before that, when I first got to prison, I had, all those emotions. I had to find a way to let them out. And I started writing spoken word. Okay. About the first year, because I had to find some way for an outlet to release it. And I started writing spoken word. I never knew I was a writer, but I was just writing what I was feeling. And it was powerful. I even performed in a prison poetry slam, where I got a standing ovation and all of that, so yeah, I was writing spoken word. And yeah, after that, I started writing that book. They inspired, the story, and it was my first novel. I started writing from there.
What's the name of it?
It's called For a Friend. It's called For a Friend. It took me actually 13 years to write it. I didn't complete it. I completed it a few times, but like I said, God, I followed God's plan, and it was like the book wasn't ready. So in 2016, while I was out, I got out in 2008. I've been home for like 12 years. So in 2016, I was inspired to add something else to the book, and that just took the book to where it was supposed to be. So it took 13 years. And I always say, it took Margaret Mitchell 10 years to write Going with the Wind. So either I got a classic or I was just being lazy. So, but, from the people's response, because people cried and everything, I cried while writing it,
Yeah.
So from the people's response, yeah, I think it just hasn't received the attention, it deserved, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that point.
So from hearing two guys talking on the yard in prison, you got the idea for this book, and that was in 2007, 2000.
No, that was 2000. I started writing it in 2003.
2003.
Yep.
And you finished it. You technically finished it, but then it didn't feel done to you, it sounds like.
Yeah. And another thing, while I was in prison, guys were getting book deals with these publishers, but the publishers were, beating them out because they're in prison, so I didn't want to go that route. So I held it because I had a few opportunities to get it published while I was in prison, but I'm an entrepreneur, by nature, so I was like, I want control of my own stuff. So I waited until I got out of prison, and, I was basically just had to live. So I had put the writing off a little bit. And then I got back to it. And yeah, 2016, that's when I finally finished it. But
I'm going to back up because you just
Uh-huh.
said something interesting to me about I'm an entrepreneur by nature. And sounds like you were in prison for drug dealing. Is that correct?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you saw drug dealing as entrepreneurship.
Yes. I mean, I didn't, yeah, I saw it as, yeah, being my
I can
own
see it.
boss.
No,
Yes.
100% can
Yes.
see it.
Yeah.
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 If that's
And
what you know, that's what you know. And that's the
exactly.
business.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. That's very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Hmm.
right. I mean, yeah, I just saw a quote by Elon Musk saying that drug dealers make the best businessmen or something like that. I looked it up and everything because I saw somebody post it. And
Yeah.
yeah, Elon Musk said that, so yeah, I mean, yeah, it's some truth to that because it was illegal, but we did, some of us managed people and products. So yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
There, the structure is there and
Yes,
you knew you were an entrepreneur. You just didn't know, you didn't have the direction to go. You emulated, like you said, that male figure that you saw. He's doing
exactly.
this. I can do this. Look how he lives. I can have all those things.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So in prison, wrote a book. And when you got out, now talk to me more about how you got to 205 Kids Invest.
Okay, well, I wanted to, I had a vision for a nonprofit in 2015. A year later, I believe about 2 years later, we started the nonprofit, which is Detroit Equals Family. And Detroit Equals Family was all about restoring our neighborhoods, because they were saying that, Detroit was making a comeback, but that comeback was only happening downtown and, in the gentrified areas, that's the only place. But in order for our city to make a true comeback, it has to happen in the neighborhoods where the families are,
Mm-hmm.
and in order for that to happen, we have to do it as a family. So, that's why we called it Detroit Equals Family. And we were all about, getting in the neighborhoods, bringing the community together and everything to, really just start talking about some changes, we could make. We have to come together, So that was the main thing about Detroit Equals Family. Move along about 4 years later. It was last year. I was at a grocery store. My mom lives in the city of Detroit. And in the city of Detroit, there are no major food chains because whereas poverty, there's theft and things like that. So, all the major chains moved out. We have one right now, which is Meyer, but it's on the outskirts of Detroit, right on the lines of the city.
Okay.
Other than that, all of our grocery stores are ran by, other races, the Arabs. They own,
Are they full service grocery stores or more like corner stores that might have some groceries?
I mean, for the most part, they have a couple, I guess, not nothing like Walmart or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? They have just grocery stores, nothing big, but the food is overpriced. And in a lot of cases, like we see it on the news all the time, they sell a whole bunch of food that is years old, stuff like that. So they don't really care about us, So I went
and
to
the ability, I'm sorry, Mark, the ability
Mhm.
to get fresh, because I'm all about food access. That's a big thing for me.
Yes.
The ability to buy fresh food and fresh fruits and vegetables, things that are nutritious and high nutrient density. They don't have that. So basically the city, and I don't know Detroit, but this 48205 zip code is a food desert. Would you say that?
You could say that, yeah, for the most part. I mean, because the food is also overpriced, very overpriced. I mean, so it's yeah. And so I was forced to go to one of these stores because I live outside the city. My mom called me, she wanted some asparagus and some spinach. So I was forced to go to one of these stores because I was right near her house. So I go to one store, boom, I go in there and I pick up the asparagus. It's like about 10 stalks of asparagus. I could usually get it for like $2 or something, at a Walmart or whatever. But this was like $7.
Okay.
But I was forced to get it because I didn't have any place else to go.
Mom wants it. Yep.
Yep. So then and it was a bag of spinach. They didn't have a spinach, so I had to go somewhere else. I had to go to another store. So I got the asparagus, already mad, because I had to pay $7 for this asparagus.
Right.
So I go to another store, another little corner grocery store, or whatever. I go in there to get the spinach. I pick up a bag of spinach. It's only like $1.50 at Walmart or whatever. I pick it up. I'm about to get it. I'm walking to the aisle. I'm walking to the cashier, and I look at it, and it's molded all on the bottom. So I had to go back find another bag of spinach that wasn't molded, got to the register, gave her the bag of spinach. It was $4. I was really steamed. So I left out of there mad, and I got on Facebook, and I was just talking about, how, it's like we've been taken advantage of, and how they really don't, they don't care about what, us or whatever. So I was on a post, and two guys got on there, and I was like, what can we do, man? We got to do something about this.
Yeah.
And that night, God gave it to me. I was like, how can we get these people out of our communities? How can we take over our own businesses? And, I thought about how Black business will never reach its full potential because of how we are with one another. We don't fully support one another. So that was the thing. That's the barrier almost. I'm over that, but it's in the minds of a lot of people, that we can't get, we can't come together. So I was like, so how can we really do this? How can we bring Black? It was all about resurrecting Black Wall Street.
Gotcha.
Because let me go back real quick. While in prison, I discovered Black Wall Street. I was in there with a guy from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we were talking about Black businesses, and he told us about Black Wall Street, and I had never heard of Black Wall Street, and he told me about it, and I was just so fascinated ever since then, So that idea came to me. You wanted to say something? I'm sorry.
I do. I want you to expand on Black Wall Street so people can know what happened. So
yes.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, 1920s.
Yep. Black businesses, Black-owned banks. All the people were prosperous. They were all Black people, and so they say after the World War I, whatever, the guys, the white people from the town over or whatever, they saw how prosperous these Black people were, and they were coming back from war. They didn't have any money, so they basically bombed the whole city with airplanes dropping barrels of gasoline on the town, and basically massacred the whole town for the most part. So so that was Black Wall Street, and like I said, that was my first time hearing it. And I was just so fascinated because all I ever saw mostly was stores owned by other races in our communities. True enough, my aunt and uncle had a little corner penny candy store or whatever, back in the days. But other than that, that's all I ever saw was, businesses owned by other races.
So you didn't know Black people had been successful or could be successful. You had never had that demonstrated to you in your childhood and upbringing.
Right, exactly. The only successful areas we were in were, from what I saw, was the drug trade, dealing. Street. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Got it.
Gambling. Yep.
Got it. Okay, so now you got online because you were pissed off about having to spend all this money for this fresh, air quote, fresh vegetables.
Right.
That were not fresh. You did search for stuff that was good. And what happened?
I started thinking about the kids because, I'm always, like even with Detroit Eagles family, it was about the kids, giving our kids something. Arts was a big part of Detroit Eagles family, getting into our communities and cultivating the greatness from our children in whatever area it is, in arts. I'm a creative, so that was my thing. We were going to do things like painting in the park for the kids and the seniors and things like that. And plays and skits and things like that for the children to incorporate things like self-confidence and self-esteem and things like that. So the arts was a big part of that. So Detroit Eagle, I was thinking about the kids, and I was like, if our kids, we naturally will support our kids. So how can we get our kids into this so that, they can benefit from it, because that's who needed it. And like Whitney Houston said, I believe that children are our future, teach them well and let them lead the way, so I'm all about that. And I was like, what if our kids own the businesses in our community? We wouldn't have any choice but to support them, you know what I'm saying? Because if our kids, so the idea, I was just thinking about it, and I was just trying to put it together. I didn't know how we would get the money, because it started out as, going to the parents and like, well, invest $100 in your kid. It's like 7,000 kids under the age of 16 in the 48205. Okay. And like 70% of those kids are between are 6 and under, though that's our future over there. So I'm like, I'm thinking like, we can go to the parents and we can, see if they'll invest $100 in their child, and we basically get everybody together, put all the money in a pot, and then we go ahead and start 205 Kids and do what we're going to do. But going to an impoverished area, disenfranchised area, asking people to invest some money and things like that. That was the barrier with that.
It takes some vision to see it, and a lot of people they can't see that. They could not see that.
Yeah, exactly. And with us, it's hard doing business, especially when money is involved. People, we don't trust each other like we should. So that was the barrier right there. So,
but that you have a very big vision that, to me, someone who is struggling to feed themselves and feed their children are never going to get there. So it's baby steps to get there. It's not necessarily a lack of trust. It's, I got to feed my kids, and it comes across to me and you as a lack of trust in me. So it's really a hard thing to come. It's hard. You're doing it though. You guys are doing it. Money with Mission is a real estate and business investment company that specializes in finding projects that have the potential to give you a great return on your investment dollar and make an impact in the communities where we invest. Make a difference in your life and the lives of others. Go to moneywithmission.com to learn more.
Yeah, so that was the thing. And, I just kept wondering, like, how can we raise this money? And, with me being a creative, I was thinking about doing a video and then, just putting it on crowdfunding or, I had the crowdfunding idea, but I didn't know anything about crowdfunding. I had, so I was, going towards something like that. So I was just sitting around, getting people together, getting board members, establishing everything, talking to people, and, everyone they were in agreement that it was a great idea, but how could we get the money? So we sat around till December. Matter of fact, it was on my birthday, December 24th, Christmas Eve. A friend of mine, he's an author, sent me an invitation to Clubhouse on my birthday. So I got on there. He was like, before I got on there, he was like, man, I think you'll really like this, man. Doing what you're doing. It's some people on here you might, can network with. And so I'm like, what you talking about? So I got on there and, filled it out and everything and, put my interest in there. And the first room that popped up was this room called the New Black Wall Street X. It was the first room that popped up on my birthday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I went in the room and I'm like, man, what is this? I'm looking at people's profile and I'm listening to them, and people were talking about their businesses and everything. It was a girl, she was telling about her hair salon or something or whatever. So I'm like, man, what is this? And she said where she was from. After she was done, she said she was from Arkansas, from Little Rock, Arkansas. So I'm like, that's ironic. Arkansas just so happens to be the place where I was locked up in Forest City, Arkansas. Okay. That's where, I discovered Napoleon Hill, and I say, God, put me through all of that. So she said Arkansas. I'm like, man, I always said I would never go to Arkansas because of that, because of, that experience. So I'm like, dang, that's weird, Arkansas or whatever. So boom, she got off the mic, and then somebody else got on there, and it was a guy. And when he was done, he was an entrepreneur, and he said he was from Arkansas. So I'm like, I'm really tripping because this is Arkansas. And like I said, God led me to Clubhouse. That's my belief. God led me there. When the third person got on the mic and said they were from Arkansas, it was like I turned around and it was like God, because another thing, I was 99.5% atheist before I went to prison.
Okay.
That 0.5% was how I was raised, what I was learned from my family, stuff like that. That's what, I was always questioning. So, but when that happened, it was like I turned around and he was just looking at me laughing. Like the final straw was the guy who, the moderator from Arkansas, Coop, Coop.
Yeah.
Coop. When he said he was from Arkansas, but he was living in Atlanta, it was just, I was just already just blown away by, everybody being from Arkansas, but then to see the Black businesses and all these Black people in here. I had never seen anything like that. I'm sure you haven't even, none of us, nothing like, because it was unity and just everything. And it was so positive. And like I said, that was the first place I went, and I'm looking around, I'm seeing all these people together. I'm like, somebody in here, got some answers, on how, but I saw it coming all together right there. I saw everything. And on Clubhouse, I'm in New Black Wall Street X. I run into another guy, Manny Fernandez. I'm not sure if you heard of him, but I ran into Manny Fernandez, and he invited. I met him by chance. We were in the New Black Wall Street X. Somebody came in the room, said, there's an argument in another room. So all of us go in the other room, and it was like a Jerry Springer show. And I heard a lady arguing with this guy, whatever. And it sounded like they were kicking him out, like they were grabbing him by his coattail and dragging him out. But before he left, he was like, if you want to learn how to raise money like the politicians and like all the rest of these political figures, DM me. So I'm like, okay. So I looked at his profile. I'm like, who is this guy? Because he sounded like a little guy, So I look at his photo and I read and I see his bio and everything. And I see crowdfunding pioneer. I'm like, so I ended up DMing him. He DM'd me right back, sent me the invitation to an Access to Capital class. Okay, so I got that. It was a couple weeks later. And
so, let's hold on a second so people can really understand what happened. You took a chance because somebody sent you an invitation to Clubhouse and you're like, I don't know what this is, but what the heck? Let me go on here. You then got the chance to see Black people that look like you, doing things that you want to do. You got further inspired, went to another room just for the heck of it, and then got connected. So this is networking 101. You got to step out, first of all.
Yes.
You got to step out. If you never step out, you never get anywhere. Did that, you met this guy, now you're in an Access to Capital class, and your idea is forming and forming and forming as all this is happening of how this can really work.
Yes.
Okay. Before you go into your Access to Capital, tell me more about your idea for how the kids are going to own the businesses, how all that's going to work. Let's get the audience to understand that.
Okay, so what we're going to do, like I said, with some nonprofit component to it. So Detroit Equals Family is a nonprofit. 205 Kids LLC is the business. We are going to come together to create an ecosystem that will provide the financial and the social and cultural structure that our community needs in order to be revitalized, basically, and to build futures for our children. So what we are going to do simply is there are we're going to round it off, 7,000 children under the age of 16 in the 48205 zip code. It's 36,000 residents, 7,000, like I said, we're rounded off to 7,000. We're simply going to give each one of those, we're rounded off to 8,000, make it an even number. 8,000 kids. We're going to simply give each and every last one of those kids $500. Of course, we're going to have, the parents, sign them up or whatever, but every last one of them, $500. So that would be what, I say 8,000 kids? $4 million. That's $4 million. The first thing we're going to do with that $4 million, we're going to raise it by crowdfunding. And what we're going to do with that $4 million, the first thing we're going to do is take 10% out and put it into our nonprofit, which is Detroit Equals Family. We'll come back to them in a minute. With the rest of the money, we're going to do a second round of equity crowdfunding. We're going to do crowdfunding and then equity crowdfunding. That will allow the residents to come in, the residents in the 48205, to come in and buy a unit. It's a unit since we are an LLC. Same thing as a share. Right. Allow them to buy the units or whatever. So whatever money we have after all that, we are going to open businesses in our community. These kids will be the members, shareholders, and the people in the community will be the ones who come in. And we will open everyday businesses in the community, such as liquor stores, gas stations, beauty supplies, grocery stores. That's where we're going to start. Okay. We're going to start with that. And we figure that if the children of the community are members of these businesses, it will give the parents, the people of the community who are the consumers, no other choice but to support the children, to spend their money with the children, with these businesses that these children are members, and also the residents, because it'll be like we'll be spending our money with ourselves, right? Once people start investing.
Got it.
Right.
So I mean, I have a lot of questions. What
Uh-huh,
help
yeah.
do you need from people outside? Do you have people who already know how to run grocery stores, to teach the kids how to do that, or run gas stations, or how are you going to teach them how to run these businesses and be
No. Okay. Yeah.
financially literate and responsible?
Right. Okay. So the kids won't have anything necessarily to do with the businesses, right? It'll be what we are doing. We're the businesses we will have people coming in to run the businesses. We will
Okay.
have people, once we raise the money and everything, of course, we are going to have the people come in, run the businesses, and the people in the community will work in the businesses.
Okay.
This will help with the employment and everything, so we will have the kids mainly will be we will be preparing them for life as entrepreneurs, or they will go on and live their lives as kids. Detroit equals family. Let me bring in where they will play their part. They will be like the caregivers to the 205 kids. We are Detroit equals family is about financial literacy and enrichment in our community. We also we have two departments: the financial literacy department and the arts.
Okay.
The financial literacy part, they will be responsible for creating a financial literacy curriculum that will follow these kids all the way through high school.
Okay.
And also offer programs for our community, for our residents, such as credit repair programs, free credit repair for our community. We're all about educating our residents.
Okay.
So that's Detroit equals family part. And we will allow the kids to work in this, do things, they will be involved, but not with the business aspect, but we will allow them to clean up the stores. They will know they are business owners.
Gotcha.
They will know that they are entrepreneurs. It's all about showing them something different. You know what I'm saying? And as far as the money goes, they won't ever really be allowed to touch the money. The money will be there growing, because once we do this in one zip code, we're going to replicate it zip code to zip code. So those kids' shares will grow. So by the time, they're ready to graduate high school or whatever, they will have money to chase whatever dream they have, go on to college, or, one thing they won't have to do is resort to the streets. That's our main thing.
I got it. So it's more of an investment for the kids in businesses in their town. And
yes,
if they want to, and so desire, the Detroit Equals Families program teaches them the financial literacy, which may drive them into entrepreneurship.
Yes,
as active entrepreneurs as opposed to passive investors in businesses. Am I getting that?
Yes, and exactly.
Okay.
And there are other things with Detroit Equals Family. We will have like the inner city garden for the kids, where they can learn to grow their vegetables and, sell them and things like that, to learn about, that's more financial literacy. Also, we have quite a few things that we have planned that we will, just to keep them occupied, just to keep them cultivating whatever greatness is within them. Like I said, and we're going to have an arts department with that too, so that these kids need that, so I'm a creative, so that's just another expansion of
this is really, really exciting to me, Mark. I can see lots of potential and possibilities for a lot of add-ons, especially wanting to take this across the country into different impoverished communities.
Yes.
I see lots of opportunity here. We got to stay. We definitely got to stay in touch, because food access is my thing, and I'm working with some people here in Tulsa to improve food access in food desert areas. And we've got a few ideas that I think might be able to work. Yes, you guys got to stay tuned to this, because this is just the beginning of all this excitement. Yes. Mark is going to start crowdfunding pretty soon. This hasn't started yet. They're still working on all their stuff. So we're going to have you go to 205 Kids Invest at moneywithmission.com. This will be in the show notes. 205 Kids Invest at moneywithmission.com. You'll put yourself on a list, and once all his paperwork and all this stuff is done, you'll get information about how you can donate, learn more about 205 Kids Invest. You can go to their website. I mean, there's some information out there. You guys, this is so exciting. I mean, Whitney Houston said it. I believe the children are our future. I mean, I love that song. I love that song. Mark, thank you so much. Mark's Instagram, the 205 Kids Invest Instagram, Facebook, email, website, all that's going to be in the show notes. So you guys pick it up. go get the information, come onto the site, get the information about the crowdfunding when it's available, and let's get this thing going. All right. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon,
Thank,
Mark.
thank you so much. I'm honored.
You've been listening to Money with Mission. There are projects happening right now where you can make a great return while positively impacting the lives of others. To learn more about today's guest or to download 7 steps to building resilient wealth for women, visit www.moneywithmission.com.
I hope you enjoyed the interview and are inspired to give your money a mission. Until next time, send your investment dollars into the world to bring you a financial return and improve the lives of others.